Welcome back to the Crypt Door Podcast. I hope you are all doing well. Yes, I am back after not uploading any podcasts for about 3 months and some change, something like that, something to that effect. It's been a wild one the last few months with work and personal obligations. It's been hard just to go out and do like content for some of my channels. It's just been really hard. So I'm back at it. I don't know how regular the podcast is going to be. I'm going to try to make it as regular again as possible, but let's get on with it here. This one we're going to get into today is pretty heinous, pretty shitty, pretty wow. This is a wow one, and it's pretty disgusting. It's out of Houston. It was recently, I found it on TikTok recently, so it's pretty recent. Today, we're discussing a story that has shocked cemetery enthusiasts, historians, and families across the country. This isn't a ghost story. It isn't a legend. This is something very real. A woman in Houston, Texas, allegedly entered a mausoleum and columbarium area with a toddler. A small child, and was caught on surveillance video breaking into cremation niches and stealing memorial items. Now, that is, oh boy, that's a little much. That angers me. My father was cremated, and he's got a niche. And we got little keepsakes and stuff in there for him. I can only imagine the sadness and the anger I would feel if I found out and saw that somebody had tampered with his niche and stole some stuff out of it. I mean, stealing from the dead has got to be like one of the lowest things anyone can do. There's really no words for it. It's disgusting. It's some bullshit. Yes, I said bullshit. I said once in a while I cuss a little bit. Oh, yes. Here it is. When something I feel strongly about. Yes. Let's get back to it here. As people who love cemeteries, history, and memorial architecture, stories like this hit differently. Because cemeteries aren't just places. They're sacred spaces. They're museums. They're family history. They're places where people still go to talk to their loved ones. Let's get in a little bit deeper on what happened here. Authorities in Harris County, Texas, released surveillance footage. Investigators say the suspect entered a mausoleum located near the Katy Freeway. Surveillance cameras captured her examining the glass front cremation niches. Officials say she brought a toddler with her. Well, that's great parenting, isn't it? Jeez. According to investigators, she used a tool to manipulate the locking mechanism on the protective glass. So she brought the tool needed. She allegedly removed jewelry and memorial items from inside the niches. Wow. Let's think about that for a moment. Somebody placed those items there because they had meaning. Wedding rings, necklaces, rosaries, small keepsakes, pictures, things that connected the living to the dead. To the thief, perhaps they were worth money. To the families, they were priceless. So let's get into why people leave items inside niches. One thing that many people outside the cemetery world may not understand, columbariums are deeply personal spaces. Families often leave wedding bands, military medals, other forms of jewelry, watches, letters, photographs, rosaries, toys, stuffed animals, coins, and just whatever the favorite object was of the deceased. Some people leave baseball cards. Some leave tiny model cars. Others leave handwritten notes. I've seen niches containing miniature dogs because the deceased loved dogs. I've seen family pictures. I've seen beautiful displays that tell the entire story of someone's life. These spaces become little museums. They're snapshots of memories. So let's see here why the story is so disturbing. Cemetery theft isn't new. Sadly, it has existed for generations. Bronze vases, statues, metal plaques, flower holders, copper gutters, even entire doors have been stolen over the years from different cemeteries, different graves, different mausoleums, etc. But this feels different because these weren't decorations. They were intimate memorial objects. Imagine visiting your mother's niche. You notice her wedding ring is gone. A necklace you placed there 20 years ago has disappeared. The photo you carefully framed is missing. That feeling can't really be measured. It's not about the monetary value. It's about the memory. And let's not overlook her bringing a child to do this. Investigators say the woman was accompanied by a toddler. Honestly, this may be the most upsetting part. Children are supposed to learn respect inside cemeteries and just respect in general. Cemeteries teach us history, family, legacy, love, mortality. Yet this child was allegedly witnessing something completely opposite. A place of peace transformed into a crime scene. So let's get into our columbariums easy to break into. Surprisingly, many older niches were designed decades ago. Security wasn't always a major concern. Some use small locks, screw systems, sliding mechanisms, or simple keys. The architects who designed these spaces weren't expecting criminals. They expected respect. That's the sad truth. Most mausoleums were built on trust. Why people target cemeteries? Criminals often think nobody is watching, cameras are limited, visitors are elderly, security patrols are infrequent, or families are just distracted by grief. Unfortunately, thieves underestimate cemetery workers. Grounds crews know the property. Family members notice changes. Funeral directors notice changes. Historians notice changes. Cemetery enthusiasts notice changes. Eventually, somebody notices. Let's go through some cemetery crimes throughout history. Body snatchers, grave robbers, bronze thieves, mausoleum break-ins. Sadly, cemetery crime is almost as old as cemeteries themselves. But society has always viewed these crimes differently. There's something uniquely offensive about stealing from the dead. Let's get into the emotional damage families may experience. Anger, sadness, violation, fear, and distrust. Some people visit every week. some every month, some only once a year. But whenever they do return, they expect that sacred space to remain untouched. Let's talk a little bit about how the cemeteries are responding. More cemeteries now have high definition cameras, motion sensors, alarm systems, improved locks, security patrols, visitor monitoring, and electronic access systems. And most of those things I have seen myself. I've seen the cameras, I've seen the motion sensors, I've seen the alarm systems. So, I've seen it in cemeteries that I visit for my content. The cemetery industry has changed dramatically. Security is becoming just as important as landscaping. Even the stuff that was going on in Philadelphia with that guy stealing, robbing graves and stealing the body, putting the skeletons on Facebook or whatever and selling them. This stuff it's happening. It seems like more and more lately. Let's talk about the beauty of columbariums. Despite stories like this, these buildings remain beautiful. Places of peace, places of reflection, places where memories live forever. So, why do people like us love cemeteries? Why do we love visiting cemeteries? I know, if I can speak for myself, and I'm sure a lot of you can agree with me, it's about the architecture, the history, the family burials, the family stories, stained glass, the sculptures, and the genealogy aspect. Some people don't understand our fascination. They think cemeteries are depressing. I think they're inspiring. They remind us that every life mattered. Lessons from this story here. I guess I could say respect matters, memories matter, family matters, and legacy matters. The thief may have been looking for valuables, but the real value inside those niches wasn't jewelry. It wasn't memorial objects. It was love. Eventually, all of us become history. Someday, our names may be engraved on stone. Maybe photographs will sit inside a niche. Maybe future generations will visit. Maybe strangers will stop and wonder who we were, kind of like we do, cemetery enthusiasts. Cemeteries remind us that life is temporary, but memory can be eternal. That's why places like these deserve dignity. And that's why stories like this affect us so differently. Wow, this was a heavy one, guys. I mean, wow. Let me know in the comment box below, whatever platform you're seeing or hearing this on, how you feel about this. I'm sure you are in agreement with me on a lot of these things about how vile and disgusting this stuff is. Let me know. Let me know. All right, guys. Thank you for joining me for another episode of the Crypt Door Podcast. If you enjoy cemetery history, mausoleums, forgotten stories, and preserving the memories of those who came before us, be sure to subscribe. And remember, every stone has a story. Every mausoleum has a history. And behind every name, there was a life worth remembering. And guys, I will see you on the next one.